Content Farm, episode 11. First things first, apologies are in order because we've had a hiatus, or I've had a hiatus more specifically. I had some shit going on for a few weeks, and then I got sick, so I didn't feel like coming on. And now I'm still a bit sick, but it's kind of getting ridiculous at this point. So we're just gonna crack on and start talking about some of the just like ridiculous news that we've got from over April, May.
Oh yeah, lots has happened.
Yeah, good to be back. Nice to see you, Peter. Welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back.
All right.
Nice to see you.
Cool. So, more pressing issues. Should we get straight into GTA 6? Because of all the things that happened over the last like 4 or 5 weeks, we got GTA 6 trailer 2, the thing that people have been waiting for what, like a year?
Yeah,
whenever the last one came
out.
out.
Popular thing.
Yeah,
we've missed.
Like oh my god. Context though, kind of strange because either like was it a day before or a couple of days before trailer 2 was the announcement that it was being delayed to next year.
Yeah, it was pretty soon.
Yeah, an official announcement. I mean, I think we all kind of felt it coming anyway because of the radio silence from Rockstar, but it was confirmed officially with no doubt that GTA 6 is coming out in May of 2026, which is painful to a lot of people. It is painful to me because I was really excited to play that. Like that was like my end of this year. Like, oh my god, no matter what happens this year, like GTA is coming out. Like GTA is coming out. Everyone's gonna play GTA. Everyone's gonna be talking about it. But that wasn't.
It's the duality of game releases. Either you release it when it's not ready and people bitch and complain about how buggy and how incomplete parts are, or you actually take your time to do it and people bitch and complain about how you were supposed to have it on this date. So it's like,
it's a double-edged sword. It is a double-edged sword. You can't win.
Yeah. On one hand, you really want to play it. On the other hand, it needs work. And
yeah, so it kind of made sense from a marketing perspective. They obviously thought about this a lot and like how they were going to execute this. And
they know how big it's going to be. Yeah, for sure.
The thing that they ended up going with was that like they're going to announce the delay and then to kind of reset everyone's feelings, they're just going to drop the trailer like on the day of or the day after. Yeah. And it absolutely worked because I don't think anyone is like complaining about the delay anymore. Like people are like a bit bummed, like, but no one's like mad because we got this insane trailer that was like a few minutes long and it was just packed full of story. And
they're too busy talking about the ass jiggle physics.
Exactly, yeah, more than that as well. But
yeah,
and
very good looking, yeah.
What I think was like most insane to me was the fact that after it came out, Rockstar confirmed that it's a mix of gameplay, like in-game cutscenes and like actual cutscenes. Well, I don't think Rockstar do pre-render cutscenes anyway. So what I'm saying is, it was a mix of cutscenes and gameplay, which are kind of the same thing. In the way that's normally how GTA does it anyway.
Right. Yeah.
Which was kind of crazy because it all looked insane. Like it looked like nothing we've seen before. Like absolutely.
Yeah. Next gen for sure. Like the first, well, not the first, but GTA 5 like lasted so long that they're gonna want to future proof this. So they're gonna want to make it like as modern as possible and as scalable as possible. I'm sure that I'm pretty sure they're making it in a way that it's going to be easier to upgrade the graphics later down the line to add more what I want to say, like customization, modability.
It's a modular game.
Yeah. They didn't expect it for GTA 5, but the mods blew up so much, and they're leaning into it right now. And no doubt that's probably why it's going to take so long because mod support is something that you really gotta work into the game as you're working on it.
Especially when the game is already like set to be so large. I mean, they already dropped $1 billion on it. The game's cost $1 billion, according to reports.
$1 billion already, man. What was GTA 5? It was like 600 or 800 or something.
Was it even that? I don't think it was that because I remember games being more expensive than that.
Oh no, I'm thinking of Star Citizen. Fuck that was game. Like it. I think that hit $1 billion soon too. But GTA 5 was definitely lower. So yeah, they're putting a lot of money on it. So they're not just going to throw it out there when it's not ready. I trust their judgment. If it's not ready for release, hold it.
Yeah,
'Cause
especially like
it's gonna be huge.
when you're talking about something like so monumental, something that people are going to play like for the next 10 years or longer, if it's like
Yep.
GTA 5,
Yeah.
it's really
Mhm.
important that you don't like fuck it up at the start. That would be
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of tragic.
That'd
When
be
you could like
terrible.
a
Yeah.
year in the grand scheme of things, a year delay is like, God, it's so worth it. It's so worth it if the game just launches impeccable.
Yeah, that's some solid development. This isn't like 3 months or something. This is like
That's a lot of time.
pretty good time for them to, put a lot of polish
Yeah,
on stuff.
you can polish
and
so
iron out
much
a lot of
stuff
things.
in that time.
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm sure they will. I mean, did anything in particular like grab your attention in the trailer?
I mean, I just love the graphics, how they look so much better.
It's
And
kind of insane, isn't it?
yeah, I mean, it just seems so GTA with all the action and stuff like that.
It's
Um,
ridiculous. It's like in the
yeah,
best way possible.
it's so it's so in tune with what the series and what I expected.
Yeah,
So I mean, I feel like it's going to be great.
I think so too. I think it looks like this kind of makes sense because it's like the Florida game, but it
Mhm.
looks like easily the most ridiculous GTA game ever. Like,
Oh yeah, all the different environments they had. That's so wild.
yeah,
Like
that and like
the different biomes.
just
That's
the amount
crazy.
of shit going on in every scene in the
Mhm.
trailer was like whoa, 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 whoa. Like it was like 1,000 mile an hour. Like you couldn't catch everything.
Yeah,
But that no,
yeah,
like
it
you
was
said,
great.
that was one of the things that took me off guard in the trailer was like I was like expecting it to be like a Florida and like Vice City, kind of like
Yeah.
GTA 5's map. But no. This map has like 6 different biomes, and they all have names because I've seen people like talking about like the I don't know what you'd call them, like counties or states or something. I don't really know, but there's like a swamp part of the map. There's like
Yeah.
at one point in the trailer they show like an entire Rocky Mountain range, and I was like,
Mhm.
what the whoa, like what is this? Like what?
Yeah.
And then in the trailer there's someone fucking scuba diving with a turtle. So like
Mhm.
so full underwater, at least in some aspect, like underwater like models and rendering, which
Yeah.
GTA 5 didn't really have.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
yeah, there was swamp, and then there was like and then there was obviously the city, and then there's the beaches, and there's like the back
They
streets.
make the world so big.
It's gonna be
it takes them
huge.
forever to do that. Yeah, but they're definitely going to put the details in because that was something in GTA 5. They just made every building look like it was intentionally there, like it wasn't just something slapped on.
Yeah, imagine that times
They
10.
really made the city feel like a city. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what this feels like.
Did they
Well,
say if they were going to release it on PC and console at the same time, or?
I don't think they've said, but now that you say that, I feel like I should have looked this up before we started because what
Mhm.
happened with GTA 5 was it was like a year, it was a year between. If we find out, I'll put it up on screen right now.
I'm going to look it up right now.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't think they said anything.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
No, it's not listed on the Wikipedia as a PC, so they might do like the PC
later on.
Oh yeah, here it is. GTA C PC release hinted. So yeah, I
Okay.
guess not.
No.
So they may wait.
Yeah.
You know.
It would be. I surely would have heard something if they said that. That would be big news.
Mhm.
But yeah,
I wonder what it's gonna look like on consoles though, because I know it's gonna look amazing on PC, but
Well,
they're definitely gonna tone it down for console.
The trailer is PS5 confirmed, base PS5.
Oh, nice.
But we don't know what that means for like resolution or frame rate. But visually, the base PS5 was used for the entire trailer, the whole thing.
All right, nice.
Which is kind
That's
of
nice.
mad because the PS5 is really like I don't know, no, it was 2019, right? But it feels like I had a PS5 forever. Like, oh my god, I feel like the PS5 is coming to the end because most of the games that because I haven't been using my PC that much recently. A Return of the Cat, welcome back. But
Okay.
most of the new games I play on my PS5 now are like so clearly like downscaled and struggling to keep 60 frames on performance. Like most of the new games, yeah, most of them.
Oh man.
Expedition 33, which we'll talk about later, is quite clearly like a bit blurry. Keeps 60, but it's quite clearly a little bit blurry in a lot of parts of the game. Obviously, Monster Hunter Wilds was like barely functional on console. It was like 30 frames
Really?
sometimes, 30 frames sometimes,
Wow.
and blurry.
That's rough.
It was
Yeah.
it was capped at 60, but like God, it was just fucking terrible sometimes. You go in the forest and shit, and the game would just tank, and you could see the pixels. Yeah, the PS5
That's
is
rough.
the PS5 is not, and Series X, I assume. Also, they're really struggling with these new games. I don't know if it's Unreal Engine 5 or what their reason is.
A lot is Unreal Engine 5 now. Yeah.
Yeah. No. The consoles are having a lot of trouble with these new games, so that does make you worry about like what's going to go on with GTA 6. But like we said, they have sunk a bill into this game. It has been in development forever, so it might be extremely well made to the point where it runs on those consoles.
I feel like if there was any game that would run great on the base PS5 and the Pro, and similar for the Xbox, it would be this one.
Yeah,
that's because you know for sure they want the biggest audience possible. They will put in the work to make, a downscaled version or whatever. The question will be, will it look that much different on Pro, or will it just run better? Because a lot of the times I see games on Pro and they just run better and they don't look that much different.
I don't think it would look different, because that doesn't make sense to me, because that would mean that they'd have to develop like a better looking and a worse looking version of the game for each thing, which I know they're going to do down the line, but like right now, I just don't know if that's a thing that's being done.
I feel like they could easily do like have their high graphics be the Pro version, and then have their medium be like PS5.
Yeah, or it could just be the ray tracing.
Yeah, because when they put it on PC, it's just going to be better. You're going to be able to turn stuff up.
Well,
so
what happened to GTA 5 is that they only released the PC version with a remaster. It was a remaster that was like, not a remaster. Well, it was a remaster. It was. I remember they added like new wildlife and stuff. They slightly buffed up the graphics. They added first person mode, which everyone was like shitting their pants over at the time, and then they released it on PC. So I think similar thing might happen. Also, since we're talking about like the difference between the base PS5 and the Pro and stuff, this kind of really like releasing a game at the end of the console lifecycle is like really good strategically as a developer, because that means they can get people to buy it again when the PS6 comes out, or I don't know whether it's like a half price upgrade.
Yeah,
that'd
be another reason to have a better version than what they're releasing, because then when the 6 comes out, then boom, you have this version that's already graphically improved.
Yeah,
and you just throw it out there, and it's. I would assume it would be what PC gets.
Yeah,
but yeah. Like you said, it's brilliant that they do that, because then you could have it on 3 different systems: the beefed up versions of this gen, and then the base version, and then the next. Gen.
I think that's exactly what'll happen, because that's just obviously they spent a bill on this game, right? They're going to be somewhat predatory with the game, because they have to make back $1 billion. But,
Oh yeah.
But I think they'll have no problem doing that. No problem whatsoever. Also in the story, it like I like that there's again like a big focus on story in the trailer. That like I feel like this story is really detailed. There's a lot of characters and shit in the trailer, and I like Lucia, and I forget the guy's fucking name, Jason. I think they're going to be cool, and I think there's going to be cool twists involved in that relationship.
I can already tell Lucia is going to be like the mascot of the game.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I just like even when it's not what you're thinking about, they usually knock the stories out of the park. They did in like Red Dead 2 and GTA 5 and GTA 4 anyway.
Oh yeah, Rockstar is great at storytelling. I definitely expect some good, characters, cutscenes, side quests, main quests, all that junk.
Yeah, so I think that's like something that people aren't even talking about, but that's really exciting to me. Because they're always so good. They're always so good every time.
It's probably not because they're not talking about it, because it's always just a part of Rockstar games. It's like talking about how much violence you're gonna have in the game. It's like,
God, I wonder if we'll have any more Fox News controversies.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. They'll if they don't, they'll make it up, I'm sure. But
It's gonna be like 10 times more realistic than GTA 5.
If anything, they may be already putting some controversial stuff in there just to get that attention.
Absolutely. They absolutely
like
are.
I wouldn't be surprised they find some new ways to piss people off just to have some news stories about them, get their name out there, and people, and the news stations will be like, oh, we really want people to know that games are bad, but honestly, people are going to read it and be like, wait, GTA 6 is out. What am I doing? What am I doing reading this news story?
Oh god, the radio stations in the game are gonna like. I keep seeing like leaks of people who have been recording it, but I don't know if any of them are real. But I've seen a lot, like loads of just like funny celebrities.
So hard to know what's real with.
I have no idea what's real.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're gonna include so many like representations of controversial figures. Like there's definitely gonna be like an Andrew Tate.
Or like, they're gonna have to have some kind of like something like that,
like 100%. There's no way they don't do that, because it would just be so funny.
You can't ignore it. And they're gonna have like Instagram, TikTok, influencers and stuff on there. For sure.
There's like Instagram Live,
but like they'll fit it in the radio somehow. I don't know how those two medias work, but
there's going to be a lot of wokeness and there's going to be a lot of woke hate because this is Florida we're talking about.
Yep, definitely.
It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, we're going to have both sides of the coin. Yeah, I can't wait to see it.
So exciting. It's not just like playing the game. It's like exciting to go and just see what that whole world is about. Like the million fucking things to do.
I think the first thing I'm going to do is just drive and then just explore the city. Just take it in.
That's necessary for any first time in GTA. The first thing you do is you beat the tutorial mission, and then you drive.
Yep. You just chill. You just look at everything in awe, and you just joyride.
I can't wait. So sad. It's a year away. It's like almost exactly a year away. Well, sad.
There's actually another game I'm actually more excited to play, and that was Arc Raiders.
Oh yeah, you were telling me about this.
That game was so good. And I'm not even big on extraction shooters.
Oh, really?
I played Tarkov and I just couldn't get into it. And then someone told me that Helldivers 2 was an extraction shooter, and I'm like,
no.
I don't know. It's kind of like calling a hot dog a taco. You don't
extract anything other than like the permanent unlocks. That's it.
Yeah. So I didn't really play much extraction shooters, but just how it plays, and there's a lot of sound is very important to the game. So there's a lot of focus on it, as far as you got these robots roaming around.
Yeah,
you don't want their attention, and so as you're looting, which makes loud sounds. You need to be very careful about what you loot, where you loot, because not only can the bots hear you, but the players can hear you too. And if you engage with the bots, players will hear that gunfire across the map. Kitty took out my headphone.
Oh my god.
Go. Players will hear that sound across the map, and they'll come to you. And inversely, if you're fighting a bunch of players, then the bots will hear it and they'll start moving toward your area.
Yeah.
So there's so much importance on staying quiet and moving in silence, and at the same time taking in the sounds, approaching when you think you hear someone is in combat and knowing where the enemy is and stuff. It's great. People were talking about it might even have like a ray traced sound.
Yeah, you linked me that, and I was like, wait a second, what?
Yeah, you're like, ray trace sound? Yeah, that's a funny joke. I'm like, no, it's real. So like, how ray tracing works? How like it shoots actual rays from the point of view.
You say it, it does kind of make sense, because it would just be
think about it in the audio. It bounces off, so it has a better representation of the sound wave, how it traveled.
That's fucking
the
ridiculous.
Surfaces it bounced off and stuff. Yeah, because the sound in that game, it's so good. And because it's so important in the game, the detail is needed, and you're
Yeah.
paying attention to it so much, and so it's easy to appreciate how good it is. And the combat's fun. Like the weapons seem balanced. Let me see. The bots, are well, they're not too fun to fight, but I guess they're not supposed to be. The whole point is you're not supposed to engage with them.
No, they look. I saw a streamer trying to kill one, and it looked unbelievably difficult. There was like 4 people trying to kill it, and they couldn't.
Yeah, it's rough. It's annoying too. So you're just running from them, but at the same time,
it's kind of cool. That's kind of cool though. It's kind of more like survival game kind of vibe.
Yeah, it's good at keeping up the tension because you're just like a bot or a player away from just dying and losing all your stuff. And the whole the style it has, it's like this 70s sci-fi, retro 70s sci-fi, kind of like Alien,
Yeah, it's really interesting looking. One of the first things that took my attention when I was watching some of like the promoted streams for it is how like even compared to like big expensive games, it looks very like it's working.
It looks good.
And it didn't look
looks
janky
very
at
good.
all. It doesn't look janky.
It looks high quality
it looks smooth
for the studio.
and fluid.
Yeah. Oh, and it was the same studio that did the finals. I don't know if you're familiar with
that makes sense. That's another very well made game.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of random then. That's weird. I thought
it's wild.
The finals still does quite well for itself, I believe. I played that like a few months ago and it was a fucking good time. I think people slept on that game.
It is.
it's extremely cool.
Someone was telling me there was like ex-COD Call of Duty developers on the team or something.
I believe so, yeah.
Like I'd believe it because like the combat in the game felt really satisfying. And like, oh man, the destruction physics were pretty great too.
Just one of them really good simple games. Like there wasn't a lot of bullshit in it. Like you just pick like light, medium, or heavy, and you just play.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a free for all with like 4 teams.
Yeah, Arc Raiders has that too. It's kind of, it feels simple, like it's not too hard to comprehend, but at the same time,
that's
it's
nice. I like that.
Damn fun. Me and my friends were like playing the beta like just for hours, and when it ended, we're just like sad.
Yeah.
It was so good that we're actually bummed that it ended.
Oh, those are the worst.
It's out soon.
That happened to me with the Halo Reach beta in 2009, 2010.
Oh yeah. Oh man.
Yeah. My friends felt the same way when the did you see about that rematch game?
No.
Oh, it's made by the people who made Sifu. I think that might be PS5 exclusive. I don't remember. But it's you know about Rocket League, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of Rocket League, but you actually play as like footballers instead of cars. But it's not like a football game, like with players in it and stuff. It's like a stylized, like futuristic, kind of looks like Rocket League in the futuristic, like glowing lights and shit vibe. But you play as players and you play as your own player, and you have it's like matchmaking. I don't know if there is single player in it, but it's like a matchmaking game, like 5v5.
Okay.
And it popped off when it had a beta. It was like it had 2 betas. I think they did a second one because it was so popular, and it really popped off. And my friends were just like, I'd look in the Discord and they were on it like all day. Like all of them.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, back to Arc Raiders.
I think Overwatch was another one. When Overwatch was in beta, me and my friends were just playing the crap out of that. And then it ended and we're like, oh man, can't wait for this to release.
I swear they make these betas more fun than the release game to drag people in, because this always happens.
Oh, Rivals too. Marvel Rivals. When Rivals was in beta, we were playing the crap out of that game.
Yeah.
And then it ended and we're like, damn, that's actually more fun than Overwatch. What
have we been doing with our lives?
Yeah, we go back to Overwatch. It's like, oh man, why am I playing this?
I swear they do something like predatory to these betas, because they always feel just maybe they like this disable like skill-based matchmaking or something, but it feels so much more like casual. Maybe it's because people don't have like I don't think it's just beta. I think it's when the game like first releases as well. Especially with Call of Duty, because people don't have like the best guns in the game immediately, which they do in like a week. Like a week or 2 they do. But at first they don't.
I think that's the same part as the beta too, because like you're just playing with a bunch of other people who are just learning the game, right? Like, and some of the people aren't even familiar with the genre, and they're just just finding their their path in it and stuff. And you don't have the tryhards who haven't touched grass in weeks.
Yeah,
like rank 1,000, just pummeling you into the ground. So everyone's kind of on the same level. And like you said, when retail comes out, it's kind of similar too. Yeah, I like that.
yeah, Call of Duty's bad for it because I hate the way Call of Duty's weapons work. Once you have like max level on a weapon with the right attachments that you just Google or like watch a YouTube build for weapons, you turn all the fully auto guns into the same gun. All of them. They're all laser accurate. They all have no recoil, and they all have like infinite range. That's every gun once you have a build in Call of Duty, and it pisses me off. I'm like, can we have?
I remember that
weapons?
about Warzone.
Yeah, Warzone is the worst example. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd see gameplay. I played it, but just seeing gameplay of other people with like their gun builds, and it was just wild how like they'd have full auto on a scoped gun, and they just hit every shot. It's
no recoil, it's like good range, really fast fire rate.
And that's why I like Arc Raiders, because like it's really respectful for range. There are guns with scopes on them, but they're very rare. And the guns that are long range, they're not the greatest at long range.
But
so it
like
kind of
rewarding.
forces you. Yeah. So it forces you to fight closer, you know? Which
that sounds great. That honestly sounds great because I feel like that's something that's been lost in the source over like the last 10, 15 years. Every game, like games stopped using range as balance. Because I remember this was a big thing like when Halo was really popular. Like range was used as like a balancing technique. Like, oh, the hit scan battle rifle's too good. Okay, we're gonna make it projectile, so it's like really difficult to hit range shots with. Now people are gonna what's gonna happen now is people are gonna like walk closer to each other, which means you can use other weapons like shotguns, SMGs and shit. But I feel like games just don't do that anymore, except from Arc Raiders, like you just said.
Yeah. Like it's so weird because the weapons feel crappy. You know, like you're using the scrap weapons in Fallout or something, like the base worst weapons. But everyone's using them. Everyone's using these crappy weapons. So every now and then, you know, someone will have like a legendary weapon or something, but it doesn't give them as much of an advantage as you would assume. So it just feels so much balanced. And like I said, it doesn't lean into any long range stuff. It's really difficult to hit stuff from range reliably.
But I imagine if you
so when you see someone in the distance, you're not just shooting them as soon as you see them. You're kind of stalking them, following them. You know, there's way more of a hunt going on. It's great. I love it. It's so good.
It's way better.
It is like you'll have to play it to see what I mean.
Because that is like what you just said. That is the key to it. Like when you first see someone in like a lot of these like first person shooter games, when you first see them, like 90% of the time you start shooting them because you have a weapon that's like capable of doing like considerable damage from that distance.
Right. You see them, you engage them, and that's just it. Like I forgot what it's like to like see someone and like try to follow them and ambush them, you know?
Yeah.
Just because so many times you just once you get to medium range, they're dead. And even long range, if they're in an open enough field, you just fire without ease.
Yeah, that's definitely something that's been lost in shooters over the years.
Yeah, they got something with that, definitely. And it was very popular among people. For sure.
I hope they keep
what was up. People were comparing the Marathon with Arc Raiders and how Marathon is a AAA studio and you know it's not doing too hot right now, and Arc Raiders, you know, just came out of nowhere and it's just got this explosive following on it.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a good segue into
it is. I just want to say I'm really happy that Arc Raiders I'm glad that we see how much a game like that is appreciated compared to what, even though I haven't played it, just based on like what I see, what I consider to look like slop from Bungie.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that we're supporting this game that's actually well made instead of the one that's like, because Bungie is so about this, making everything like, I don't know, like they keep saying that they're making it like accessible, like, oh shit, we're doing this thing, but we're making it accessible, like easy, like, oh, you do this, like we're gonna have this on the screen, you can do all this, like basically kind of making like baby games. That's like that's what they say every time they're talking about Marathon. They're like, we want people who don't really play extraction shooters to start playing extraction shooters. So we're making it like
Marathon is an extraction shooter too. I didn't even know that.
Oh, did you not? Yeah, that's why the comparison is so
it's
so interesting.
Okay.
It is an extraction shooter,
because I'd watch snippets of gameplay and it's just so boring. I just couldn't watch it.
Oh, it looks terrible.
It does. Like the environments, they just look so stale, and the gameplay is just so uninspiring. I
also
literally
looked
couldn't even
potentially
watch it.
plagiarized.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, potentially. I mean, I think it actually is compared to the, seeing the screenshots and the comparisons of, what the art that she did. She
Yeah.
posted, what'd you say, in 2017?
Yeah, for context,
And
basically, a Twitter user, just forgot the name. I should have written it down. I'll put it up on the screen. Back in like 2017, one sec. Back in like 2017, created some marathon like fan art, kind of like a, not really anything like in like crazy, just like a little mood board of like themes and designs and textures for like marathon. For like a modernized kind of like brutalist modern marathon art style. And now here we are, fast forward like 8 years in 2025, and marathon has been in alpha. And
Anti-Real.
Anti-Real, that's the name. Yeah. So fast forward like 8 years, 2025, we've seen streamers and other people playing the marathon alpha, and it is littered with fragments of those textures from this 8-year-old Twitter post, fan art.
And not only did they just steal her art, but they stole like, they tried to impersonate her entire style. Like, it had so much. Her images had so much impact on this game's entire look. Like, they just took our art and they said, this is the direction we're going, and at the same time said, let's not talk about her and let's not attribute anything to her.
That really is what it looks like. I hope that's not the case, because if that is the case, holy shit, that's one of the worst controversies I've ever seen in the game.
Devil's advocate, like, it is possible that just the one person who was responsible for the textures, like, did it, and the rest of the team just didn't know.
Yeah. I also think devil's advocate. Is it possible that they had already decided they were going for like this modern, like, very square and kind of brutal art style, and then they happened to see that post and just kind of used like a little bit of inspiration? Because the alternative is, like you said, they saw that Twitter post, and that Twitter post became like the foundation of their entire game, which would be really, really bad. Like, that would be really bad. I hope that's not the case.
Yeah, definitely something slipped through the cracks, and it was, for such a big studio to let something like that slip.
It's not their first rodeo. It's not Bungie's first rodeo. They've been caught something like 5 or 6 times using.
No, really?
I should have taken down examples before we started. I didn't realize until like recently we were going to get into this, but like,
you just like post them on the screen as we're talking,
so
sure.
They used, in Destiny at least once, they used really, really good fan paintings of like characters or environments in the backgrounds in the game with no credit.
Oh, I think I heard about that. Yeah,
once or twice, like not even just one time. Yeah, and a lot of other like minor instances going all the way back to Destiny 1 as well. They do have a bit of a history. For like, I don't know if it's maybe like crunch or laziness or whatever it is, but they do have a history of taking stuff and not.
I didn't know they had such a history. That makes it even worse. They should know to have better oversight now that they've slipped so many times, and just to let something like that go. That's wow. That is pretty terrible.
Not their first rodeo, and it's anti-real made a Twitter post, like, saying. Otherwise, people might not have known because it was such a random thing, such a long time ago. But she made a post like, like, here's like you mentioned it before. She drew a diagram of all of the assets that were stolen. Some of them even including her logo, and some of them including her name. Anti-Real is in the game. I think they put like a little blur texture over it, but you can still read it. It says Anti-Real in Marathon.
In the game. The game. Yeah.
And they said something.
And it got to a point where what was the presentation they had, and they were expected to show footage of the alpha, but they didn't.
No,
because obviously they
have to change it all. Yeah,
right.
And they said something quite prescient in their recent tweet as well, because and this is really true, and it's really quite just frustrating. But these like $1 million companies like Bungie, who is like ostensibly Sony, and just this happens throughout the industry as well. Like, it's not just Bungie. It like this happens throughout the industry, but they would rather just take it without like offering any money or offering any credit, then like just sending a message or like or just being like, do you want to work for us, because this concept art was really fucking cool, and we think like if you just came to Bungie and like told us about it, and then you get her like in the papers, maybe get some payment sorted out or some credit, they make a deal or something.
I mean, that's good PR right there, right?
But they would rather just take it, which is funny because that's the kind of place where people who make cool art like that are supposed to be getting work. Like,
right.
They have money to spend on people like that, and Anti-Real in her Twitter post was talking about how she struggles to make like she and other indie artists struggle to make a living off this work, and they sink like thousands of hours into it, and sometimes it's not worth it. Like they don't break even. Meanwhile, studios like Bungie will just take it, like without asking or without sending a message. These $1 million companies, it's unbelievable.
Right. It's this massive company. Like it honestly wouldn't be a drop in the bucket for them.
No,
not even just to buy the images from her, but literally to hire her. It wouldn't be something that too difficult for them to do, right? And at the same time, they'd have higher quality art, because now this person who made this would be, you wouldn't have people trying to replicate her style. You would have her style. You would have her style.
That would be yours now.
Yeah. You'd make things better. You'd seem less like an asshole. You'd give money to someone who deserves it. Like there's no negatives here besides just being an ass and trying to save money. Like it's just such bad optics.
That's exactly it. There's no way of twisting it into being positive.
There isn't.
Because there's like you said, there's 1,000 other different ways, better ways it could have gone. Either you message them and you message them and you ask permission, you hire them, you just ask them to come in and share the art and talk about it, and maybe pay to take it off them, like pay money for the art style.
Yeah.
And like anything. Yeah. There's a million ways you can do it, but they chose the worst thing you can do, which is just fuck you. You're an artist.
It's so hard for them to say. Yeah, it's so hard for them to say that they didn't know. Especially because, like you said, they have a history of it. And I think you also brought up earlier that they all follow her, right?
Yeah. So in their like original apology statement, they passed it off, the blame, onto an ex artist for the company, saying that that the ex artist put these textures in like a texture sample folder, and that ended up down the
how scummy is that
going into the game.
Yeah, it was a guy who no longer works for us,
Yeah, and then all you had to do was look at their Twitter pages, and like a lot of the staff follow Anti-Real on Twitter. Like this is a person that they've all looked at because they follow the page. Yeah, and overall, it sets a really bad precedent in the industry again, because, like I said, these big companies are where people like Anti-Real are supposed to make their money. Like that's how this is supposed to work. That's not that's not a controversial thing.
Yeah, this is like their dream is to have this huge studio not only like their art, but say, we love this style. Yeah. We'd love to have you on the team and make more of your art, for our game, and help us make this game better. And that's gone, and it's the exact opposite. Now we're just all pissed at them, and she's not able to, make more art. And yeah, it's just
people are suggesting that Anti-Real takes it legal, which I think is probably a good suggestion. But
entirely possible, yes.
They said in a tweet though that they don't think they have the resources or the time or something along those lines to get into that. Because
I remember
she thinks she'd probably just get just get like shit on by Bungie legally, basically. But I don't know, because I'm not Better Call Saul or anything, but I feel like you have a really strong case there. So it might be worth looking into.
Yeah. Law is very difficult to predict.
Yeah,
as far as
really
cases
can't
and
speak
stuff.
on it.
But
yeah,
I mean, on one hand, there's undeniable evidence they knew that it was hers. They have a history of doing so. Mm-hmm. But on the other hand, it was just their alpha. They haven't made any sales yet, and if they change it before release, technically they haven't profited off it. So
yep.
I mean, legally speaking, she might have a shaky case.
There was intention to profit off it though, because they were 100% going to keep those assets.
Yeah, there definitely was.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's kind of funny because like if she had waited till the game came out, to make a case.
I
It
was
makes me
thinking
wonder,
that,
would
but
she
then
have a bigger case?
yeah, I was thinking that, but then is that illegal to hold on to that information knowingly until until Bungie makes money off it? I feel like that's bad. I feel like that would land you in trouble.
Knowing, yeah.
Yeah.
There's so much ambiguity in that. Like you said, you're not a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer.
No, you really need Better Call
but
Saul for that shit. Like,
yeah,
that's
it's definitely
interesting.
something that you can't say they definitely win or
No.
lose, because there's
No.
a lot of murkiness here. But for sure, bad for Bungie. Unfortunately, bad for the artist. But
well, at least it's a little bit of.
I wasn't gonna play this game anyways.
No, maybe it was a little bit of publicity for Anti-Real, and obviously,
yeah, that is true. At the end of the day, she did get some recognition,
and it's a huge compliment in a way that Bungie wanted to steal her art. It's disgusting.
Oh, yeah.
But like,
yeah,
they
imagine throwing that on your portfolio.
They thought she was good enough to be in the game, but they didn't think she was worth paying. It's fucked up. It's really fucked up.
It's very fucked up.
Yeah. Oof. Anyway, the marathon itself, I watched some alpha gameplay. Looks boring as fuck. It looks like
it does
the most possible watered down extraction shooter you could make.
You know what? Someone wrote an article about Arc Raiders. It's like the most okay shooter, or
That's
something like that.
Like.
And
That's
like very hot take, absolutely hot take. But you apply that to marathon, and like, yeah, that's just the most okayish. And even that may be pushing it, because it's just so bland. It just looks like I'd believe it if it was made by some indie dude, like who just happened to, know how to make a game look, pretty good.
Yeah, I'm not. Also, I know it's alpha, but the graphics in it look kind of weird anyway. Like, fidelity-wise, it looks really strange. It looks like it's designed to run on like older software. I don't really know how to describe it. It looks considerably worse than like Destiny.
Yeah,
it looks well worse than Destiny.
It looks so plain.
Yeah,
and it just looks so barren, and like it's cool they took her art style with it, but obviously they didn't know what they were doing with it.
No, they didn't.
Like, I feel like if they had brought her on the team, she'd have been able to be like, like, to use her to be better with the textures and the usage and stuff. But yeah, very
I think I was more talking about like specifically fidelity. The art style I'm not 100% sold on anyway. At least the way Bungie implemented it. But yeah, the the fidelity, like in terms of like lighting and the outdoors,
just graphics in
terrible.
general. Yeah, just lighting. Weird. Yeah. Nothing to call home about at all.
No, not at all.
No. So nothing to excite me there. Absolutely nothing.
Okay, I think we covered that quite well. Hope Anti-Real comes out of that with some cash. Anything specifically you want to talk about next?
Well, Bungie's doing bad, but what's doing good is Oblivion. Am I wrong?
You played it? The remake?
No, but I watched people play it. I played the original, so I know how it goes. So I just watched people play it just to appreciate the graphical updates.
Yeah.
And like, they did a good job. I've seen the comparison videos side by side. And it looks very faithful.
It's
to the original,
extremely faithful.
Which is really hard to pull off, to upgrade the graphics and make it have that same feel. Like they really did hit it, Like,
yeah, I've been playing it, and it's actually my first time playing Oblivion. So you might think that it's like a 20-year-old game. So how am I gonna feel about it? Like having played it now, even though it is a graphical remaster, it's not like the gameplay isn't. There might be like slight combat changes, but it really is the same game. Like with a skin over it.
Mostly the same game.
And I like it a lot. I think I like it more than Skyrim. Is that a standard opinion?
Honestly, I liked Oblivion more than Sky. I couldn't get into Skyrim. I played a ton of Oblivion, but Skyrim, I just couldn't get into.
One of the first things that impressed me that Skyrim is lacking is like the variety of places that you go to. Because in Skyrim, when I played it, like when it came out for a little bit, and then later down the line, I've replayed it or tried replaying it, not to completion, like a few times. One of the things that bugs me in Skyrim is walking around the open world looking for something to do and ending up in the same catacombs like 100 times in a row. That really pissed me off in Skyrim. There were so many catacombs, and even if you did find like a different dungeon, it really didn't look that different to the other ones. But in Oblivion, I'm like, 1 second I'm in actual hell, 1 second I'm in like a glowing ectoplasm ghost dungeon, and then 1 second I'm in like some caves, 1 second I'm in like some mines, and that's cool as fuck. Great. That's cool talk because that was my biggest issue with Skyrim, just going to boring places all the time, fighting the same enemies. Oblivion doesn't have that problem, which is so funny because it's the earlier game. It doesn't have that problem at all.
Yeah, and like just the outside environment too of Skyrim, it just seems so samey as compared to not just how varied Oblivion was, but just how much more lush it looked. You know,
especially in this remaster, like it looks insane.
Yeah, especially in the remaster. Yeah, it looks way better. But yeah, that's definitely something that got me on it. And you know, going back to the caves you're talking about, that was something that I liked about Morrowind so much. You'd just be exploring a cave, and then you end up in this ancient Dwemer ruins. You know, just out of nowhere. It's that was such a cool. I can't wait for that game to be remastered.
Is that happening?
Even though I don't know, man.
But it
like
has to
people
one
are
day.
talking about, people are talking about how difficult it would be to you know, make it
because it's so
modern, because it's just so dated, you know, and it was so buggy, but like the bugs were kind of part of the charm. It'd be difficult, but there's definitely people who want to see that. Me included.
And Oblivion, like you'd think with it being so old, it might be kind of difficult for some modern gamers to grasp, and it definitely has its jank, but it's very playable, which is a huge compliment after such like a long period of time. It's very playable. I haven't had any significant bugs, really, and I've never been like so confused by the jank that I've been like, oh my god, what am I doing? Like, it's never happened. I've pretty fluidly played the game so far. Yeah.
It's pretty straightforward.
I think like the combat is fantastic. I think it basically feels the same as Skyrim, but because of the graphics, it feels like quite satisfying. Like there's new sound design as well. So like using the bows and using all the weapons and stuff. Is cool. Going into a dungeon and getting like a cool like fantasy weapon after having used like basic weapons for so long is really satisfying.
Yeah, I love that.
It's genuinely really cool. And going in them hell gates and murdering those kind of tough like Daedric enemies and getting their cool weapons as well. Feels like you're going on like a cool raid. It doesn't feel like you're just fucking around for like check marks. It feels like you're earning something for killing people.
Yeah, there's some heft to the quest. You're not just ticking off another, you know, line item. It really did feel, and exploring felt a lot more satisfying in that one too compared to Skyrim. I felt like not only did it feel, you know, like there was more to explore, but it was more satisfying when you found stuff.
Absolutely, yeah. It also had some cool side quests that caught me off guard as to how cool they were, for like with me knowing that it's like a very dated game. Like for example, there's one where I walked into a castle and I was like, okay, what's going on in here? And it turned into like an hour long quest, at least for me because I got stuck on it. But like where there's a stolen painting. Yeah, a stolen painting from the lady of the house's room. And there's like 5 different suspects, and you have to do like the charm mini game to get like the truth out of them, which leads you to someone else, then leads you to someone else, and leads you to someone else, and then you go around the castle and you find clues, and you have to accuse someone. Like you have to accuse someone who you think, like Cluedo, who you think did it. And it was genuinely really cool. It kind of caught me off guard a little bit because I was like, well, I hope there's more stuff like this in the game, and there is. There's a lot of stuff like that in the game actually. Just fun shit. Just fun shit.
It's great. I think that's where they finally started to take off with like the different dialogue paths and stuff. Because in Morrowind, they kind of did it, but not as in depth. But it just felt so more involved in Oblivion, and that's why I feel like, you know, even today it just holds up pretty well, just because it was so quality, right? Like even now you can appreciate that, you know, that quest. Compared to, you know, the kind of stuff we see now, like kill 10 Boris, you know, bring this book to my, you know, my friend in the next town over or something.
Yeah.
Like actually having like a kind of whodunit, like in the middle of your fantasy FPS.
It was cool.
Yeah.
I mean, before playing this remaster, the only thing I knew about Oblivion was the memes. The memes of like the old lady in the car park with the Oblivion music in the background, like those videos, the Oblivion NPC memes.
Yeah, I can never hear that music and not think of all the memes that have
call the judge and get some memes.
Yeah,
that's the only thing I knew about that game. And whenever I hear that music play, which plays quite frequently as well, I can't take it seriously anymore.
Yep, the second the harp sounds,
which is a shame.
Here comes the cheese. Yeah, it is. It's
the game
actually
does have
great.
a crazy soundtrack. So does Skyrim. I think they have like some of the most listened soundtracks in the world. Like Secunda from Skyrim is a tune, and there's some tunes in this game as well where like sometimes a music starts playing in the open world, and I'm like, whoa, I didn't know this game had. I underestimated your game, literally. Like I underestimated this game's musical capacity. Yeah. It's got great fucking music. I was
so blown away by that game when it first came out. It was amazing. Like having grown up with stuff like Ultima Underworld, you know, like some of the very first FPSs, fantasy FPSs and stuff. Going from that to like Oblivion was just mind blowing. So it's great they brought it back for another generation to experience.
Yeah,
you know, not only can like the old guard, you know, who played it back in the day, like revisit it, but now we have people who had never even experienced it before, you know, and
yeah,
and now they can enjoy it.
Yeah, I keep seeing memes about like there was something else as well that was from that time period, but like it's 2025 and people are playing Oblivion and like playing this or doing that, and I'm like, what is this timeline that we live in? Because one, it was shadow drop, so no one even expected it anyway. It was leaked, but like mainstream people probably didn't know that. So it was just kind of a really random thing where like in 2025 we're all playing Oblivion again. Like it was kind of like a weird lapse in time. Cool though. We like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Very cool experience.
A good remaster, right? That really preserves what made it so great. Like you really can appreciate that. I'd love to see more of those instead of the cheap, you know, just re-releases, you know.
I think the industry is definitely learning that we like those because there's been a lot of those recently and they all do really well.
Yeah.
Gets me excited because for a few years there's been a leaked Halo 1 full ground up like reboot. Kind of not like a reboot, but like a Resident Evil 4, like completely like remade.
Yeah.
And that's really exciting because again, that deserves a new generation to be playing it because Halo hasn't been talked about in like 15 years. So that would be massive.
Like I'd love to see like a Deus Ex, like a modern version of that. Yeah. I feel like that'd be incredible.
It's exciting, man. It's exciting stuff. There's a lot of games that can come back and have basically like a second chance, second life. It happened with Resident Evil. Resident Evil had a second life. They basically saved their franchise with like unbelievable remakes.
That was really great. How they did that too. They kind of kept the feel of the original, but at the end they updated it. You know, they made it more modernized.
Yeah.
Because I mean, as much as I love Resident Evil, it's such a dated, you know, gameplay. Like just the controls. You know, what do they call them? Tank controls. You know,
the first
very,
game.
very rough. Yeah. So they're like, no, we're gonna do over the shoulder, and it's like that works.
Yeah, it does work. Yeah, it actually makes them way more scary as well. Well, maybe not scary, but intense. Yeah.
They kept it to it.
There's rumors of the first one being done as well, which I think would be massive because Resident Evil 1, from what I played, is actually a really good game. I like it quite a lot. It's cool.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cool puzzles.
Two is my favorite, but
yeah.
But 1 is definitely has its perks.
2 has some interesting changes in the remake because I hate how in 2 you can never like this is definitely because like I don't know, maybe it's too difficult for me or whatever. But in the 2 remake, which is the only exposure I have to that game, it really stressed me out how like anytime I was trying to do something, that Mr. X guy was chasing me constantly. So if I was like doing a puzzle and he came in the room, I'd have to like loop him around the map every time to go and continue the puzzle. But in the original second game, that wasn't the case. My friend told me that recently. I didn't know. In the original, Mr. X is not always on the map. Like
they did a lot more Mr. X in the second. Yeah. I gotta say it does feel kind of like annoying at times.
It was annoying for me, yeah, because I'm new to the franchise as well.
Because like the way you use them is you just add a bunch of tension and like the whole monster is chasing you down the hallway vibe, you know?
Yeah.
But if you do it too much, then it kind of wears off and you kind of get used to how
it wasn't scary anymore. It was just annoying.
Yeah. It's just annoying because you just know you keep your distance and you're fine. It's like, him. Okay, gotta leave the room.
Gotta leave the room. Gotta run around.
Yeah. Save it for the parts where they least expect it and just comes through the door, boom, and then now you're running, you know, for your life. And
yes, absolutely.
But otherwise, pretty quality.
Yeah. Speaking of pretty quality, pretty and quality, can I talk about Expedition 33 briefly?
Oh yeah, definitely.
How you played it?
No,
No, I
no,
didn't
I
think
haven't
you would have
played
played
it,
it.
but I watched it though.
Yeah,
Um,
have you watched much?
yeah, like I'm trying not to spoil myself because I feel like I might play it actually because it looks so good.
Yeah.
But it was something that I just not paid attention to because I just heard Expedition 33 JRPG. And it's like I'm not interested in the genre, but I actually saw the gameplay of it, and I saw like the active battles where you're like dodging and parrying and stuff. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I
It is
missed
really
that
cool.
about that was so cool about Super Mario RPG, and I haven't seen that in many other games besides like the Paper Mario ones or
Mm-hmm.
something. But like an actual serious sci-fi game or fantasy game.
Yeah.
So,
It's a weird breed of like genres. Not in terms of
mhm,
gameplay. It definitely is just like a turn-based RPG in gameplay. But I mean, like
yeah.
the setting is so interesting.
Have you played it?
Basically, yeah. I'm at the end. I'm at a part in the game where you can like explore or you can go to the
Mhm.
final boss. But I haven't.
Oh,
But
that yeah.
I've just been like flying around a little
Mhm.
bit. Um, just like this basic context of the story, which isn't really a spoiler because I think everyone knows at this point.
Yeah.
But if you don't want to know like the basic context of the story,
No,
then
it's fine.
just don't listen to me. But like, so basically, it's called Expedition 33 because there is a strange like fracture in the world, and in the gap in the fracture, there is a woman called the Paintress, like a giant woman, and
Mhm.
every year she writes like a number on this huge monolith that kind of looks like a tree. And every number that she writes down, descending from 100, the person who is that age dies, like all of them. So like all
Mm.
of the 100-year-olds would die, and obviously the people of Lumiere, which is like Paris, like the world that this takes place in. It's extremely French
Yeah.
game.
Mhm. Yeah, I've
They
noticed that.
started doing expeditions to try and stop or kill the Paintress from killing everyone until there's no one left.
Mm.
And that's why the game's called Expedition 33, because when you start
Oh,
playing, you're on Expedition 33. So everyone who was older than
okay.
33 is dead.
That's pretty cool, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really cool premise because that's like an instant hook. Like, whoa, that's kind of creepy because it has like a weird like horror to it as well. Because this
Mhm.
Paintress woman is kind of sat there looking all like she's just kind of sat like like head over her knees, like with long like grey hair, but she's giant, like
Mhm.
100 foot tall. And every year
Mm.
she just, with no explanation, just gets up and changes the number, and everyone dies. It's kind of like existentially creepy. It's really weird,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it hooked me instantly. And when you start playing, like the 34-year-olds die. So
Kind of afraid to start playing because I'm sure I'm going to be playing it a lot. Like
yeah,
how many hours did it take you to get to where you're at now?
I have 35.
Okay, that's pretty solid.
Yeah, that's like your average length for like an RPG.
Mhm. Yeah, that's pretty good. It's not too long, not too short. It's like the
Yeah.
golden
So
zone.
when you start the game in the intro, the 34s die, and you get to witness that, which is an immediate like whoa, like what the fuck is going on?
Mhm.
And then you learn that every year they do an expedition to try and kill her, and then you're going. You all have like this cool Expedition 33 uniform, and you all
Mhm.
go. And that's where you get like your crew, and you set off on the expedition, and it's a crazy adventure. Like this game was made by 30 people, as far as I'm aware, and they're like
Yeah,
ex Ubisoft
I heard
developers.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but considering that, like the small amount of like manpower going into it, there's so much stuff in the game. It's one of them games where every time you go to a new area, it looks completely different, and they all have new enemies. Like every area. There's
I love
later on
that.
they
Yeah,
reuse
that's
a
good.
couple of them in like some scenarios, but most of the
Mhm.
game is like completely unique for 30
That's
hours.
cool. Yeah, the graphics I've seen look so good.
The
Like,
graphics are unbelievable, even on my
yeah,
PS5 where I
and
feel
like,
like it's
yeah,
downscaled.
the environments, they look great, man. Like,
Yeah, and there's so
just
many different
out there.
ones. There's so many
Mm.
different environments. Every time I went to a new place, I was like, how did they make this? Like how did they make this? There's so many different places. Um, it's definitely a game of the year contender. For me,
Mhm.
I'm sticking with KCD2 for now, just because as like a whole product, I think KCD2 had way more going on than Expedition 33. But I think Expedition 33 is really strong in the things that it does right, but it also just doesn't do some stuff. So, but the way the game works is it's kind of like Pokemon, but third person, where you run around, and while you're running around, there really isn't a lot that you do at all. Like every now and then, there's like some jumping puzzle, but they're like really
Yeah.
rare and they're kind of bad. But the
Mhm.
game only starts when you walk over to like an enemy, like Pokemon, and then
Yeah.
and then you like teleport into the fight phase, if that makes sense.
Mm. Yeah.
But outside of the fight phase, the game is that's where the game kind of starts to look and feel a little bit indie. I don't know, there's some like janky animation, janky movement, and janky like jumping and shit. And like I said, you don't do a whole lot outside of the fights. It kind of feels like you're just meant to run around and obviously like pick up items. And sometimes NPCs will like give you little tasks and stuff, or like say, oh, like bring me 10 of these, or find all my friends. But there's no, unless I'm being a massive idiot and I just haven't found it, there's no like journal in the game at all. There's actually no menus apart from like your character.
Really?
There's no kind of journal system or anything like that. It's a bit bare apart from, like I said, the things that the game's really good at, which is like,
that's interesting.
Which is like the good looking environments, exploring the environments, and obviously the combat, which I think is what's grabbing most people's attention because of how engaging it is.
It definitely got mine.
Yeah, it's really engaging. So each character in total, there's maybe I shouldn't spoil how many, but you get a few options throughout the game, and they're all like way different to each other. So it's not just like they have skills that like do damage or heal. Every character has their own mechanic. Like for example,
that's great. I love that. That's my favorite thing. Yeah.
For example, I love it when they do that. One of the characters that you get from the beginning, Mael, who's the one who's the girl who's voiced by the woman from Baldur's Gate. I forget her name. Her unique mechanic is that she has stances, and when you do certain attacks, they say like do this attack and you'll finish in offensive stance. So next turn you'll be offensive.
After
and then some of the really good abilities are like you're in the highest damage stance, but if you use this attack, you'll stay in the highest damage attack, like in this highest damage stance. Like you like there's really good abilities that set you up because the game is all about the game isn't about like doing damage in your turn. It's about setting up like the next turns. That's most of the stuff you do.
Yeah, and that's really cool. I like that.
And my favorite character, Ciel, has a mechanic where she like throws these cards, like fucking Gambit, and the cards stick in the enemies and they count up to 10. And the more cards you have in an enemy, you use certain attacks that consume the cards for extra damage. And then as you do that, she goes into a mode called like Twilight, where she can go from 10 cards to 20, and then you do like even more damage. That's my favorite character. She does like unbelievable amounts of damage.
Nice.
But yeah, every single character has a mechanic like that. All of them. They're not just normal characters.
Are they all 33 or they?
No, they're not all 33. No.
Okay.
One of them is 16.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. You can go. I guess you can go on an expedition when you want. I don't know. But yeah. No, I think you'd really like it if you're into like those turn-based games, because I haven't played that many, but this is definitely the best one because like you mentioned before, this is a game where when it's not your turn, you're still fully locked in because you have to parry. Well, you don't have to parry, you can dodge, which is slightly more lenient. But if every time you land a parry, you get like a skill point back. But sometimes an enemy will attack like with 5 swings, and each parry you get is a skill point back. So if you parry everything, then all of your team has like full skill points by the time your turn comes around.
Nice. Yeah.
And obviously
that's very satisfying.
Yeah, and obviously you avoid damage, which there's really cool animations as well. Like it's a full send on everything they do is like really well made, because there's attacks where enemies will attack the whole expedition and you all have to parry at the same time, which is the same thing as just doing it as one person. And then if you parry all of the attacks, then you get like a counter attack where you do like a cool animation. But if you do that when you're playing as the whole team, you do like an Expedition 33 counter attack where like the 3 of them will do some sick animation. It's so satisfying. And it's really cool. Oh yeah,
I gotta say, no, I haven't played RPGs for a while because I've just kind of been burnt out from them. But this is the one that actually caught my attention. So I may actually get into.
It's quite easy to get into. It's quite easy to get into. There's a lot of different. You get access to loads of abilities to the point where you can basically make the characters completely different, because there's some that are just very different. Because you get like a skill tree for each character, but some of the moves will like completely change the character. I've kind of stuck with like something that I know I'm comfortable with. But some of them are like very defensive. Some of them are about healing. Some of them are about doing damage. You can really kind of pick how you want to play as well. Oh, yeah.
Nice.
I love it. I kind of don't want to finish it like KCD2. Although KCD2 I put 100 hours in before I finished.
Yeah, when you get to that part of the game where it's like you can fight the boss or keep exploring, you kind of want to hold it off, because you know that once you beat the boss, you'll find it'll be some closure and you won't be as motivated.
Exactly, exactly. Story is really great as well, but it's a story that it's a mystery story, so there's really nothing I can say that won't be giving away something. but where that premise goes is very cool. It's not that simple at all. It's very interesting.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
cool game.
Speaking of new games, Doom Dark Ages just came out.
Oh, that's another one for me to yap about. You haven't played it, have you?
No.
I got some interesting feelings. Yeah, Doom
but
the Dark Ages.
I have watched some of it, yeah.
Yeah, Doom the Dark Ages is out. I downloaded it on Game Pass on the Xbox Series X because I was looking at like the minimum requirements for PC. I play on 1440p and I have like a 3070 Ti. And according to these recommended specs, I might get like 60 if I play on like medium or low settings, but I was like, Doom Eternal was great on like 120 FPS. Like that's my problem with FPS games. I was like,
that's a game where it you can really feel it when it's smoother. Like
60 FPS.
Doom Eternal is anything to go from.
Yeah.
60
like
FPS
when you're just keyboard and mouse in an FPS is kind of weird. I think I'm at a point of like elitist dickhead gamer, where like 60 FPS in a fast-paced shooter is like, oh, it's kind of rough. Which is a weird thing to say.
No, it's not weird anymore.
Is it not? Okay.
It used to be good enough back when consoles were like, 30 is okay. But once you see above 60 and you realize just how smooth it can be, then you go back to 60. I remember not long after I got my high refresh monitor, I was like, what was it, like 120 or something? And
120 or 144.
I was setting up a computer for my brother, and I'm like, what's wrong with the frame rate? It just looks so terrible, And it turns out the monitor was locked at 60, so it's just a steady 60 FPS. It was a completely steady 60, but it just looks so choppy to me.
Yep.
And I was just like, okay, I'm spoiled. I'm really spoiled.
Also,
and now I got a 240 Hz monitor.
Jesus, no, it genuinely is different though, because 60 on console is like they optimize it so there's like no screen tear. There's like partial VSync, so there isn't much input delay. But on PC, if you're locked at 60, things get weird sometimes. Because VSync on PC is normally quite shit. And if you don't have VSync, there's normally like a lot of screen tearing. So it is different on PC compared to like playing 60 on console. I feel like 60 on PC is worse for some reason. But anyway, that's where this is going. I thought I'm gonna download it on Xbox on Game Pass and see what it's like. Again, maybe I'm just an elitist prick, but like, God, playing Doom on a controller is really weird. I don't think I like it.
The game. I remember you're kind of hesitant to get back into the PC scene because of the whole controls.
Yeah,
but now you're starting to see, you're starting to come to light.
Yeah, the game
you're seeing the truth, my friend.
The game hasn't blown me away so far. Anyway, I'll talk about that a bit after. But like, fucking playing Doom on controller is weird because in like Doom Eternal, you have like 6 weapons or maybe more, and it's really important, especially on the higher difficulties. It's really important to like quick switch between weapons, like the ballista and the rocket launcher and the sniper.
Yeah,
that's like how you play the game. That's how I did anyway.
Part of the game.
It's a core part of the game. So I don't, unless there's like a control scheme.
Weapon wheel.
Unless there's a control scheme that people use that I don't know about. Maybe I'll have to Google it. I don't know how that's possible on controller because there isn't enough buttons.
Only way I could see it's possible is if you had the Elite controller with the extra tabs on the back.
I do, yeah, but my problem with that is I use them for jump and like slide and shit.
Oh, okay. All right.
But I've done that since like years ago, so that's kind of like in my head now. Also, on the Elite controller, it only double maps anyway. Like the paddles don't count as an extra button. You have to map them to like X or Y, which means you're basically like double inputting anyway.
They're not additional.
I don't think so. Unless I've been using it wrong my whole life. I don't think so. No
way.
I think it's just bonus. Like you. Maybe I don't know. That sounds wrong now that I'm saying it out loud. Maybe I'm missing something.
I mean, it makes sense when you think about it, because like how many console games do you know where you can map the keys?
No, not many.
No, not many. Like, so that does kind of make sense that they wouldn't even have it inside the game itself. to do that, right?
Yeah.
I feel
If I
like
can-
it would need like special additional,
Yeah. If I can and I don't know, then yes, that's exciting because that would fix everything. Because I could use like the buttons on the face that I don't use anymore as weapons. But like I said, I just don't think the Elite controller does that. I think it just remaps the existing buttons. I'm pretty sure that's how it works, which is for Doom.
You know,
not great.
You know what I did just think of is a modifier key. Like if you hold a key down and the face buttons turn into something different, like the face buttons turn into weapon selections. That could work.
You can do that on Series X. I've never messed with it, but you can do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Like it wouldn't be as smooth as, just having a keybind, but definitely better than the weapon wheel.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So I either fuck around with that for hours, or I take the hit and try and download it on PC and see if I can get it with DLSS to like run it like above 60. But
honestly, dude, we're talking id Software.
Yeah,
they got really good like John Carmack is just
they're
one of the
great
best programmers ever. So
I'm
going
Doom
2016 ran really good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But I mean, Doom 2016 ran so good, and even on lower spec system. 2016.
And Eternal.
And Internal. Well. Yeah, and Internal. But so I expect that the scale will be pretty good, because a lot of times when they have the recommended specs, it's because below this the game will kind of suck.
Yeah.
But I think for the Doom game, it's kind of below this. The game won't look as good, but it'll still run as well. Just because I expect good optimization from id Software, and they always deliver. So I'd be a bit more optimistic about it.
It's free on Game Pass, so I may as well try it. I'll probably do that. I'll probably try that. Although I have had another PC complication recently. Like my PC, every time I turned it on for like a few weeks, it made like a horrible noise permanently, to the point where I just kind of dealt with it, like a really loud like scraping noise.
Yeah,
and I did.
You
some
might
shit,
have something like a wire hitting a fan. Or
I did figure it out eventually, but it was kind of confusing for a while. I first thought it was like the pump, because the noise was coming from the pump. So I was like, I'm gonna turn it upside down and shit, and unit. And do stuff like that. And then that fixed it for a little bit, but then it came back like a few days later. And then I got my head in the case and really started trying to figure out exactly where the noise was coming from. And it was one of the fans on the AI. So my AIO pump has 2 fans on it, which is normal. That's like a 120mm radiator, which has 2 fans, and one of them was like, there wasn't a wire or anything. It was like, I don't know if it like became bent or moved out of place a little bit, but part of it was scraping like the casing of the fan. So, and it was making like quite a loud noise, like surprisingly loud, here from downstairs.
Gotcha.
So I kind of fiddled around with it for a bit to see if I could get it to move away from the casing, and I eventually just completely broke the fan. So now it doesn't move anymore.
Well, they're pretty easy to replace. They're standard like 120mm fans or something.
Yeah, so I don't know how to connect that back to the AIO system, but it's probably something I can figure out. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's you could probably even get the exact same kind of fan they use too.
So either way, right now I'm running like cooler's running on 1 fan, which to be fair doesn't seem to be making much of a difference, but it definitely will in the long run.
I mean, I remember they took one of these AIO units and they connected it to a car radiator, like the big massive things, and they didn't see much improvement at all.
No.
So as far as the thermal displacement, it's pretty much optimal as it is, and it's probably not the best that you're only down to 1 fan, but
no, it's not. It needs to be replaced, but the PC's working still, so okay.
I don't think you're gonna see it as much as a hit to it. So
we'll see when I render this fucking video and my PC sets on fire again.
Yeah, but AIO units, like I used to swear by them just because they're like it's liquid cooling. You don't have to mess around with a kit for. But I kept running into issues with the pump. Like the pump would die, and like I'd have the warranty and they'd replace it, but it would be like every pump or every AIO I'd buy, I'd be returning it once or twice within the warranty, and it got really annoying. And I just kind of like and so I just got a Noctua, air cooling thing. And it works great, man. Like. Yeah, I looked at the comparisons to the temps, and it's like comparable to the AIOs. So
I think that might be my next move, because honestly, since I've had a couple of AIO coolers, and sometimes I feel like the CPU is just cooling itself, and the AIO isn't really doing anything. Obviously, the heat displaces into the block, but other than that, I feel like nothing's really happening. It's just kind of doing its own thing, the CPU. So I honestly think they might be a bit overrated. I don't know how much they're actually doing. It's just kind of a cool thing, like having a liquid cooler. But I'm not a PC guru, so I might just be.
Yeah, last time I got a really good one too, like one of the top tier ones.
Yeah.
Just because I was so tired of it breaking down, and same thing, it eventually broke, and it was just like, I'm not going to bother with it, because anytime I've gotten the cooler and the fan, they've just worked. You know.
Yeah.
I can't remember any point where like the fan broke, and that's really the only thing that can break, because it's just a fan. It's
the only moving part.
System.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't even remember last time a fan on one of my, CPUs died. So it's reliable as fuck.
So I might go that way next, because that just sounds like less fuckery, like less hassle, basically.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and you're not sacrificing much on temps.
No, especially for what I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to Doom with the PC stuff. The game itself, from what I've played on Xbox, hasn't like blown my socks off that much anyway. It's kind of fun, but it's so the way the game works is weird. They have like your normal Doom levels, which feels like it is what they advertised it as. It's like a boots on the ground, slowed down version of like modern Doom. Yeah. And it's quite fun sometimes. Like you have a shield where you can parry. So enemies will do like waves of attacks, like they always have in Doom, like rings of projectiles, and some of them are green, and you parry them and you do damage to the enemies and stuff. Something about it just feels weird though, like it's a little bit clunky. Like sometimes you parry and it doesn't work, or sometimes you use the shield and maybe you get hit through the shield sometimes, or you melee and sometimes the enemies get stunned and sometimes they don't, so they hit you through your melee. Like stuff like that happens sometimes. I wasn't like in love with it. It felt a little bit random. But also they have these different levels where you play in like a giant mech suit, which is in the trailer, like a giant Doomslayer mech suit, which looks cool, but God, that was like the worst level so far. It was really bad. They have like giant demons. Yeah, they have like giant demons that you fight against, but you just kind of spam them down. Like the mech has like 2 attacks, and the enemies do like an attack where they have a big green indicator when they're about to hit you, and you just press dodge, and then you punch them again, and you punch them, but it went on for like a really long time, and I was like, Jesus, like
vehicle stages in Doom.
Yeah.
Oh man.
There's more than one. Apparently
there's
there's dragon levels later in the game that are apparently really bad as well. Apparently not fun. Just like padding to the apparently the game's quite short anyway. But the dragon levels are apparently bad. I haven't played any of those though. So yeah, I've heard mixed stuff from other people on it as well. I don't know if this Doom is going to hit in the same way as the other two, to be honest. I hope I might be wrong, but the other two were like quite overwhelmingly positive all the time. I think this one's already getting a bit of, I don't know, I think it's not resonating with some people in the same way as the fucking amazing games that predate it.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
We'll see. It just came out, so
it just came out. I haven't played it fully. I might. It definitely needs to be played on PC to be like judged properly. Because it just doesn't really make sense on console. Like I said, it's too much going on for a controller.
Yeah.
Yeah. For as far as I've played, that's really all I have to say about Doom. I'll get around to it eventually.
Yeah, we'll get back to that, I'm sure.
Maybe on PC.
That's something I'm definitely going to play soon.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you have Game Pass, right?
I don't know.
Oh, well.
I go back and forth on it depending on
whether
there's a game I'm playing on it or not.
Yeah, I've like cancelled it and uncancelled it so many times at this point.
Yeah, because I hate it when like I have a subscription going and I just haven't used it forever. Like that happened for Netflix. I think I had it for like 5 months and I hadn't even watched one thing on it. And I'm like, why even have the subscription,
So that's why subscriptions are so like I just don't like them. Like because when you get so many of them, you lose track of them and then you just stop paying for shit.
Yeah, and you're just paying for shit you're not using. It's terrible. It's so strange that it's whether you just watch nothing or you just watch one show or you spend the whole month binging everything like you're in a hospital and you got nothing else to do, you know? Like it's the same price a month.
Yeah.
So
that's the problem with subscriptions in general.
Yeah.
Which is like a whole fucking thing, but like games seemed like everything seems to be moving in that direction. It has for like 5 years.
If they had an option where like if they detected that I didn't use it at all that whole month, that they'd just, you know, keep it active until I used it, not charge me, you know, and I just have a month credit that started when I started watching, or you know, something like that. Like
they want to do the opposite. They want to do the opposite.
Yeah. They want those. They're like the gym membership that people get on New Year's, you know.
Yeah.
That when they want to have the resolutions, they want people to just kind of have that keep on going and you know feel good about being in the gym membership, even though they're not going. 100%. Yeah.
TV shows do this as well, where like they could just release the whole show and it's great when it happens, but they want you to pay for like 3 months. so they release the show in like, you know, weekly intervals, which is only beneficial to them, not beneficial to like any viewers. I don't think people really like waiting a week for shows anymore. At least I don't. Did you watch any Star Wars stuff recently?
No, but
God, what was that?
I heard the new Andor season 1 out. So I need to put that on a list because
I kind of wanted to talk about it.
Each time someone brings it up, I'm like, why haven't I watched that yet?
No, you're
the
honestly
only
insane.
Star Wars thing that
it's the best in my opinion. This is like
really writing it down now.
Yeah, this is like a roasting take, but in my opinion, it's the best Star Wars media ever. I think it's better than any of the original movies, any of the prequels, any of the sequels. It's just like so consistent. What was the last like Star Wars thing you watched? If you had to remember, just the last thing in general, yeah.
If it wasn't Andor, it was probably like the first episode of Obi-Wan.
God bless you.
And the first and only episode of Obi-Wan, because oof, man, I just couldn't. And then before that, I'd probably have to say Mandalorian, which honestly, I really liked the first season.
I like season 2 as well, to some degree as well. Yeah.
Season 2, I didn't like it as much as 1, but I at least enjoyed it. But season 3, I was just like,
God,
I was just yelling at my monitor the whole time. It was just so bad.
Yeah, the consistent bottom for me is like there was a show called Book of Boba Fett that came out, and it's like it's like a Boba Fett is alive, obviously in the current continuity, and he has his own show, and it's terrible. It's a nothing.
It was
burger.
so bad.
There's nothing.
They had to turn it into the Mandalorian so that people would start watching.
It had 2 episodes.
They literally just made it the Mandalorian for 2 episodes, like just so people would switch over. That's
unbelievable.
So
unbelievable scenes.
Yeah, and I felt like there was so much potential there because like the first episode, I kind of got into it. I liked how he was like.
There was an arc with the Tusken Raiders. Yeah, the Tusken Raiders. That was cool, actually.
Yeah, that was actually pretty cool. And then it was just downhill from there. Like it just kind of it didn't know where it was going, and it wasn't Boba Fett the bounty hunter. It was Boba Fett the daimyo.
He was a daimyo.
Yeah. The kind of leader of this not exactly bad town because it's like a governor or something. Like.
Yeah.
Technically, he took over Jabba's place.
Yeah, but this doesn't make any sense, though, because in the movies, he was only on Tatooine for a job. Like, this guy this guy doesn't, like, love Tatooine or anything. So when he came back to life, why was he, like, obsessed with Tatooine? It didn't make any sense. He wanted to rule Tatooine when he came back to life. Why?
Yeah. It was so weird, and like, you'd think Boba Fett would just be cutthroat, but he's kind of like, this kind of kind, gentle guy. And it's like, it's not that I hate that. It's just that it doesn't fit his character.
Yeah, I can kind of believe it a little bit if you think of like this, like the Sarlacc pit as like a rebirth. Maybe he really had some time to think about his morals. Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, it is definitely weird. There's not a lot of work done to kind of understand why he's now like the nicest person in the universe. But anyway, yeah. Did you watch season 1 of Andor? Is that what you said?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And
so you know great. What's going on. Season 2, in my opinion, is probably better.
Better than
Yeah,
season 1?
yeah. It's very
That's
similar though.
awesome.
It's very
Yeah.
similar because it's structured like the exact same way with 4
Okay.
episode arcs. But some of them are like mental. Like some of them are insane. Like 7, 7, 8, and 9, second to last arc is that's the one where like all the shit goes down. It's unbelievable. And then at the very end,
Like
you start getting to Rogue
I watched
One.
Andor. I watched Andor, and it's like, this is what Star Wars sequel are supposed to be. Like, you take place in the universe, but you tell your own story, you know? Like, you don't just grab one of these characters from the trilogy and just rub it in people's faces. Like, you just go, here's a Rogue One kind of did the same thing, you know? It didn't take characters and make like they had these original characters and they had the story that was kind of connected but different enough that it was their own thing. And you know, they brought some of the old guard in and at the very end, but still, and that's why kind of, you know, Rogue One wasn't too bad, but still, if Andor wasn't out, I'd say Rogue One was probably the best.
Ooh, interesting.
Non-OG. Because so much. Well, I don't know. I mean, Mandalorian was kind of good, but season 3 kind of soured me to it.
Soured it, yeah. Season 2 wasn't.
I feel like if a season 4 came out of Mandalorian, I wouldn't be excited for it. So that's that. They're working on a movie for it, aren't they? Like,
yeah, there's leaked trailers for it. You can watch the trailer for it on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm not too excited about it.
No, I'm not. I feel like I assume it's going to be more of season 3, like style stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah. It feels like they had like a change in staff and writers or something. There's just the feel is off. You know, like they jumped the shark.
I have a theory on what that is. So basically, it's what Mandalorian's worked on by 2 people: Jon Favreau, who's like the guy from Iron Man. The fat guy from Iron Man, Happy, and Dave Filoni, who's the guy who like made the Clone Wars, like that TV show, and a lot of like animated Star Wars stuff. And he is the problem child because Jon Favreau was like entirely responsible for season 1 of The Mandalorian, and it was quite good. But then like these other shows that have been slopped recently are like led by Dave Filoni and Kathleen Kennedy, like entirely.
Kathleen Kennedy, yep.
So so Dave Filoni is like, in my opinion, he's the problem child. I don't know if you watched any of Ahsoka, but that was like possibly the worst one. Possibly worse than Kenobi.
No. Worse than Apostle?
Than what? Worse than Acolyte.
Acolyte.
Yeah.
What did I say? Apostle? Acolyte. I meant to say Acolyte. They both start with A.
In my opinion, Ahsoka's worse than Acolyte. Yeah, because Ahsoka has
worse than Acolyte.
Yeah, they go to a new galaxy in it for the first time in the continuity of Star Wars, and it's just terrible. They go there and they don't care. Like, no one takes a second to be like, oh, we're on a different galaxy, and they go there and they land on a surface on this planet, and people are still wearing like Star Wars style outfits and blasters. And no one
because they couldn't because they couldn't ditch the Star Wars thing.
And no one ever cared.
Wars,
like
right?
no one ever we're on a different galaxy right now, and like no one's ever done this before in the movies and the shows. But it's just more Star Wars. They get there and there's like there's Imperials there because they're chasing after like Grand Admiral Thrawn, who has been lost in this galaxy. So he's there with his like stormtroopers and shit. God, it's terrible. But yeah, like none of this even matters anyway because Andor has just like kicked Star Wars back into action, basically. Like, well, I say that it's over now, so I guess it hasn't really because it's finished permanently. But
is it done now?
Season 2 finishes like on the foot of Rogue One. Yeah.
Okay.
It's finished.
So like I really hope they see that, like the success of Andor, and they restructure, you know, what they're gonna, their plans, you know.
I don't have faith.
Future stuff.
I
hope. I don't think they will. I'm actually betting they won't. I'm betting they're just gonna lean into more of the, you know, the Acolyte and Ahsoka shit that they've just been shitting out. Like, absolutely.
I'm actually worried it might go worse than that. I think they might take some of those like amazing characters from Andor and try and like put them in some slap shows or movies. I'm worried that might happen. That's genuinely possible because Andor was so successful, and Tony Gilroy, the Andor and Rogue One kind of director,
Mhm.
said that he's not really interested anymore. Like that was his show, it's his baby, and that it's finished now. There's no need to like. There's no need to just keep. You don't need to just keep doing things for the sake of it. You can't. That's not what art is about. Like he's finished it. And it's done.
Right. You finish the painting, and people don't go, oh, now
Paint over it
expand it. Make it more.
Yeah.
Make the sequel of the painting. Just that's it.
Yeah, but that worries me that like fucking Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau will take like the Andor characters and make spin-offs about them. Oh god, that's a scary future. I hope not.
I mean, if they don't make shitty stuff about Andor characters, they'll make shitty stuff about other Star Wars characters. Like
true, yeah.
The whole series is just in disarray right now, and it's not looking good. And they're trying too hard to try and make it Marvel.
Yeah.
And make it bigger than it needs to be, because they saw what happened when they added the new trilogy and how much weight it still has in the box office. And I thought, let's just throw out more shit with the Star Wars name on it. And that seems like that's their kind of, their goal at the moment.
And for me, the canon continuity that I only care about is like Andor leading into Rogue One, leading into like the OGs. Like that's like all I care about. I don't really like anything else. The prequels were fun, especially when I was little, but god, they're weird movies. They don't really they got weird vibes to them. Sequels I hate, and I just hate in general. Now I do. Back in the day I used to like The Force Awakens and stuff, but they soured on me so bad over the years that I just don't consider them canon. Like there's such weird movies, all the sequels.
But like the new trilogy actually made me respect the prequels.
It did for loads of people.
Like, yeah, because I would meme on them, because when I first watched them, I was kind of like, it's not like amazing, but it's watchable. Like it didn't feel like a bad movie. It just didn't feel as Star Wars as I was expecting it to. But
the prequels, they have great stuff in them. Like the Revenge of the Sith has some great scenes in it. It's just it's got this weird feel to it, hasn't it? Like really weird dialogue, kind of
like the Duel of Fates and Episode 1 was awesome. Like that whole part of the movie was just great.
All of the lightsaber duels, Anakin and Obi-Wan in Episode 3, all of the lightsaber duels are like fantastic. They're really,
and then like they threw in the podcasting rain in Episode 1, and I was just
pod racing. You said podcasting.
Podcasting. Can you imagine podcasting? Oh god, I think I'm losing my mind. This is what happens when I.
Nah, people love the pod racing though.
The pod racing is. They love it, really.
Yeah, no, that's like a cult favorite kind of scene.
I hate it. It was so bad when I saw it. It's like the worst part of the movie. It was just so out of.
I wasn't into any young Anakin scenes, really. Young Anakin was fucking annoying.
Yeah, I did not like that at all. It wasn't until Episode 2 that I started actually enjoying the scenes he was in, and like he had some really cheesy lines and stuff, but
terrible.
Also that is
terrible.
That is in the vein of Star Wars.
It has like a charm to it,
to be honest. Yeah,
but it is
that's kind of how the OG went. Like and you kind of see that there's some, but I still stand by what I originally said, and what a lot of people agree with was like George Lucas had too much creative control over it. People were saying like because he was so established when he made the prequel, he was just surrounded by yes men, and who dared tell George Lucas not to. Whereas in the OG trilogy, he literally had his wife, as an editor, like, and just helping in so many parts, telling him you shouldn't do this, and we should have this, and a lot of other people.
Yeah, the OGs were not like entirely made by George Lucas, right? He had multiple people write the film.
Yeah, there was a lot of revisions, a lot of help, a lot of I remember the second one was he had someone help him. Not the second one. It was
the third. It was the third one, I think, which is I think what you're talking about is it's either 5 or 6. But they're not written by him. They're written by his writing teacher.
Yeah. I forget which one it was.
I forget which one.
But yeah, like he literally had people to help him. And, and now that, he's just kind of doing everything. And, you see interviews with him. And like where he's talking to his writing team and stuff, and he's throwing ideas out, and you're just kind of like, ugh, you know,
Yeah.
like like he's saying stuff, and then people are just like, that's it. You know, you don't hear someone like, what if we? It's just like George Lucas said it. That's what it's gonna be. Like they show him designs, and he points to it, and that's what it is. You know,
Yeah.
like I feel like he had too much control over it, and it kind of, you know,
Yeah.
like the whole Jar Jar thing. Jesus,
oh God.
that was.
There's a really
was so
funny
bad.
there's a really funny video of Steven Spielberg like visiting George Lucas and looking at some of the Star Wars props for the prequels. And there's a point where they have a statue, you know, like the battle droids, the ones with like the funny shaped head, like the really thin ones. There's a scene in this like behind the scenes where George Lucas shows that to Steven Spielberg, and he goes, "This is our new stormtrooper," and Steven Spielberg's just like, it's really funny. That's a great video. It's real.
They're kind of
well.
silly looking, honestly.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
it's kind of cool how like he made them, you know, fold into these little, you know, balls.
Yeah,
and stuff,
they fit within like a continuity of them three in terms of everything kind of looking like that. But when you watch like other Star Wars stuff, feels like the prequels are just in like their own weird universe where everything is like really different. Yeah.
Yeah. Like the older Star Wars universe in my head like seems so much different than, you know, than what I've been, because I don't know what I was expecting, just like older technology or something.
Yeah.
But it just seems like everything's the same, you know. They have all
everything
the same
that's very futuristic in the prequels.
And and spaceships and everything. Like it doesn't seem like that much time had gone by. So
yeah, that is explained away in the sense that the reason the prequels look so much more futuristic than the OG, even though it takes place before, is because like the Empire either like salvaged or changed or destroyed like a lot of the stuff from the, or like just wiped from history a lot of stuff from the prequels.
Yeah.
Like they wanted to get rid of Jedi and lightsabers and all that stuff. Like for the most part, they didn't want it to be around at all. But it's definitely, it's weird anyway. It's even weird.
As much as that makes sense, it sounds like something someone made up.
It's like it's a hand wave. That is a hand. There's lots of hand waves in Star Wars. There's also this thing in Star Wars that even happens in Andor season 2, where people think the Jedi are like a myth and they're not real, even though for like hundreds of years they were in charge of the whole galaxy on Coruscant. Yeah. So, and the hand wave for that is that the Empire destroyed all the records. That happens in like in the lore at some point. But I'm like, okay, you can destroy all the records, but it was only like 30 years ago, so all the people who were there are still alive. so they should all just remember. But yeah, that again, that's another thing that you have to accept as a Star Wars fan. Is weird.
Yeah,
it's also
but to
weird.
be fair, like Jedi being mysterious is kind of cool, and
it is cool. Yeah,
I feel like they should have leaned into that a lot more.
That's definitely it's a prequels issue because they made it so the Jedi were everywhere, basically.
Yeah, and I thought, you know, the new trilogy would kind of stray away from that, you know, but they just leaned further into it. Yeah, and I'm not even gonna go there.
Andor is also kind of tricky going into the original trilogy as well, because, and this isn't really Andor's fault because the way Andor does it is way better, so I don't blame Andor. But what I'm talking about is in Andor, like the Empire and the ISB, which is like the special forces that are like a big role in Andor, are like fucking lethal, and they're cunning and they're insanely evil. They're like massacring civilians and shit, and they're not missing. Like these stormtroopers are not missing. They're all like when you see a stormtrooper, you're like, oh shit, that's like they look creepy. They're wearing like kind of dirty, dusty armor, and they're very serious. And when they come into action, they're like actually a threat. They're very deadly. Not just that, like the killing aspect, but the actual people in charge are also like incredibly evil. You'll see if you watch season 2, there's a lot of like really fucked up things that the Empire do or plan in season 2 that are just really hard to pass with the original trilogy, because when you go from watching Andor to like episode 4, like the stormtroopers are just running around like fucking morons, man. Like, because it's goofy, right? Because it's like a not entirely serious movie, so it makes sense,
right? Yeah,
it's just kind of a funny thing, that I think everyone will just accept because that's the way the original trilogy is.
The whole stormtroopers being terrible at aim and stuff, it is kind of funny and enjoyable and meme worthy, but like it's kind of funny how like they took was it Jango Fett, like the most successful bounty hunter and like one of the most skilled combatants, and they cloned him and they all suck.
Yeah.
That just doesn't make any sense.
Although in the prequels, though, there's clone troopers, which are all Jango Fett. They're good. So the prequels didn't make this mistake because they're quite like there's battle scenes in the prequels where the clone troopers are quite proficient. So the clone troopers are quite good. Stormtroopers, which are I think are like a mix of clones and new hires, because because so much time's passed. Yeah, they're just fucking idiots. Like honestly, they're all fucking idiot in the original trilogy anyway. There's a scene that I always find really funny where Han Solo walks around the corner and shoots one of them, and there's a group of like 10, and they all turn around and run down the hallway, like 10 of them. It's hilarious. It's funny, but yeah, that's definitely not an Andor problem because Andor is such a gritty show that having like that really intimidating opposing force is what makes it so good.
Yeah, it does. It's and that's why I enjoyed it so much. It's a serious Star Wars, you know?
Yeah.
Like there's no like comedy relief character that's pedaling around with them, you know? No. There isn't like some silly like you said, like the stormtroopers being, you know, inaccurate. Like when people shit, I mean when people shoot to kill. And people do fucked up shit.
Yeah.
Like so it just has this this visceral grittiness to it that actually, you know, it feels so fresh as far as the Star Wars, you know, goes.
Yeah.
And just having it in that universe feels like they finally did, you know, a sequel right.
Yeah. And like I said, like it's also just the decisions that they make at the Empire as well. Like they're not just like lethal with like guns and stuff and like, oh, they're blowing everyone up and shit. In Andor, they're like so evil. They make these horrible plans that involve just like politics and like traps, and they're so smart. Like at some points, they're probably they catch out like the main characters in Andor like multiple times throughout the course of the show. Like they're kind of a step ahead of them sometimes, to the point where obviously eventually it's going to catch up to them. It can't. They're such an opposing force that you can't run away from them forever.
They're an actual threat. Yeah.
No, yeah, I think that's good Star Wars talk. That wasn't even planned. I just like Andor has like taken over my life for the last few weeks because it was just so shockingly good. I'm sad that it's over.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch it because I really like season 1. I'm actually excited to watch a piece of Star Wars media. This is a strange feeling.
I think you'll really like it, especially the last like 6 episodes.
I definitely will. Yeah.
There's one more thing I wanted to talk about, and it's a bit of like a random off-topic thing, but it's something that I thought that I've been like following recently because it's interesting, and it kind of comes off on the thing that we've mentioned over the last few episodes, however long ago that was. But like when we talked about like the Carl Jobs videos and the people hacking or like people cheating in speed runs and stuff, and just how interesting that is, the way communities will become like forensic investigators to try and catch people.
And then you watch a video on it and like you haven't even played the game, you have no idea, but you'll watch a story about a speedrunner or like a cheater or something.
Yeah, and that's especially
because it's so fascinating.
That especially applies here because we're talking about fucking chess, ladies and gentlemen. This is a chess scandal.
The OG game.
The game of all time. Like this is a chess cheating scandal, and it took over the internet for like a few days because it was just so interesting. Or maybe that was just because I was watching all the recommended videos. But anyway. Basically, do you know who Dr. Lupo is?
No idea.
Really? You didn't know who he was like before this? Oh, interesting.
No, I had no idea who he was before.
Oh, interesting. Have you never been like big into Twitch?
No. Like most of my exposure to like streamers is like clips, highlights and stuff like that. Like I don't really watch anyone live. Like the only time I've watched live streams are like a few like competitions or something like that. But yeah, outside of that, you know, I'm pretty oblivious to the top streamers and stuff that are, you know.
Well, the reason I bring up Twitch anyway is because back in like, you know, when Fortnite was blowing up and like Ninja always had like 100k views every day.
Yeah, I know that guy.
Yeah, so Dr. Lupo was someone who would frequently like play with Ninja and was in that like circle. So he was like a top streamer for a really long time. Like they all they were kind of a circle who would always like play with each other, or like whoever was online would be like, okay, come on, we'll like run duos or run trios or whatever on Fortnite. Dr. Lupo was one of those. For a few years, he hasn't been very big. I don't know why that is. I don't think he like did anything particular. I think he just moved his content in like a slightly different direction to the other like massive streamers. Obviously, Fortnite doesn't hit this. It's still very large, but on Twitch, it doesn't really hit the same as it used to. And I think he nowadays more plays like Escape from Tarkov and things like that, or games that are popular but definitely more niche compared to him being like the Fortnite guy back in the day.
Right.
But so he does like good for himself, makes like 20-30k views on his videos and stuff like frequently, which is fine.
Well, that's pretty good.
That's good, yeah. Making money and stuff, successful. He's also a very big charity contributor. That's like his whole thing. He's been doing for a few years now. He raises money for St. Jude's, I think, yearly, and I think he sometimes raises like unbelievable amounts of money. I don't want to put a number on it in case I'm wrong. I feel like it's like $1 million. But
wow.
But like I might be like that's just me throwing a number.
So
that
it's not
I
new to
think
these
I've
charity
heard.
things.
No. He's like a St. Jude's guy. Like he's been doing that for a long time. He makes a lot of money for charity, which is going to help his case in the future. Anyway, he ran into some controversy last week or 2 weeks. I just realized it's gotten like unbelievably dark in my room. Like if you skip back to the beginning of the video, it's really way brighter. Anyway, sorry. I just noticed that, like when you've been playing a game for like 5 hours and you look up and you realize it's dark. That was like that was what I just experienced. Anyway, Dr. Lupo caught some controversy last week or 2 weeks ago because he was invited to a chess tournament run by chess.com, which is the biggest chess, like if you Google like play chess and or like on your phone or on a computer, the first thing that comes up is like chess.com. That's where everyone plays. You make an account and it keeps track of your elo, and you can do like training on there or instantly matchmake, ranked or casual. It's the biggest like chess thing. And chess.com run a tournament. I don't know how often it is, but I know this was the 6th iteration. It's called PogChamp 6, and basically they invite like random streamers, kind of big, but not like the bigger streamers, but they invite random streamers who don't necessarily play chess to have like a charity tournament. So whoever wins donates $100,000 to a charity of their choice. I think that's how it works. I don't know if it's about like I don't know if that like goes to them first and then they donate. I don't know how that works, but it's a charity tournament with a prize of $100,000. That's what I know about the event. So Dr. Lupo was playing a Pokemon creator, streamer, or YouTuber, I'm not sure, called Wolf Glick or Wolf Glicks. And he's like, so it shows everyone's rating when you play, and Dr. Lupo is like 600 elo, which is quite low. I don't think it means you've never played chess before, but that's like relatively low. And Wolf Glicks was like 1300 or 1400, which is like they've played chess a bit. Like that's like a probably like being silver or gold or something in a game. And at like a random point so they played multiple games together, and in one of the games, Dr. Lupo made like a blunder. Like he lost his queen by accident, which is like the most powerful piece on the board.
Yes.
And after that, he randomly, miraculously started like playing like an absolute fucking chess demon. Like,
really? To
the point where this is where it gets interesting, because as someone who isn't experienced in chess, Dr. Lupo, it's probably really not. You probably don't realize how obvious it is that you've cheated. It's like if you were to go into like Valorant, having never played Valorant before, you might think like, oh, if I just put on like soft aim lock like in a tournament, surely like people won't notice, right? Because who's gonna notice if I have soft aim lock on? But if you show that to someone who's like has thousands of hours in the game, they'll immediately know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like watching video games and seeing someone cheat, like it seems like there's so many tells, you know, there's so many things to look for. And whereas chess, I'd feel like it'd be so difficult just because, you know, like you're just moving pieces on a board. Maybe he just thought that was a good, you know?
Yeah, that's where it's interesting, because that makes sense that he thought that, but he's completely wrong. It's actually the opposite. Because you can calculate the odds of people making the best possible move, like once, and then twice, and then 3 times, to the point where the possibility of this happening is absolutely impossible. So, although chess is extremely easy to cheat on, to the point where you can just download, like, you know, on the second monitor, you can just download an engine that tells you the best move. You kind of you kind of duplicate the game on a second screen, and you'll see what the best move is. As easy as it is to do that, it's also incredibly easy to tell because of the mathematical implications of the things that you do. It's like incredibly easy to tell. And Dr. Lupo, as brazen as he is, didn't know this, obviously. And
it's kind of ironic if you think about it, because they use a supercomputer or just a computer, I guess, but they're using a computer to generate the best moves, and at the same time, people can use the computer to, check if they're making the best moves. So that is kind of nice that they're doing that.
It is.
I wouldn't have thought of that.
Like I said, easy to cheat but easy to catch. That's how chess players that I watched about this case described it anyway.
Yeah.
So the exact statistic that I recall is that Dr. Lupo played 26 perfect moves. So that's the computer generated perfect move consecutively. The chances of just doing that off the hook are like the best chess player in the world, Magnus Carlsen, couldn't do this. Like, this isn't feasible. This isn't feasible and he's a low rated player. He has 600 elo, which is low.
It makes me wonder what the highest amount of perfect moves that a master would do. I wouldn't be surprised if it was like 4 or 5.
That's a good question. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
I bet somebody number crunched that stat somewhere. That'd be interesting to hear. But
that would be interesting.
I bet it's nowhere near 20.
No, that's like unbelievable. But anyway,
man.
He obviously didn't realize how easy it is to tell, and they played a couple of games, and in the second game, sorry, back to the first game, there was a point where he could easily take Wolf-Click's queen, because I learned a little bit about chess through like the amount of stuff that I was watching on this because I was obsessed with it. I was like, oh my god, I was watching like everyone's videos on it.
I just saw one video on it, so yeah, you definitely know more.
And so there's a point in the first game, where he has an opportunity, an easy one, to take Wolf-Click's queen, which is, with like a bishop or something, or like a knight, like the best trade, like a really great trade, like a fantastic trade to get rid of the queen. But like, because the computer is so 5 million IQ, literally, it doesn't make him do that, because the computer has thought ahead and calculated a checkmate that doesn't involve taking the queen. So from his perspective, he's just following the computer's rules, thinking like, oh, maybe people will just think I'm good because I know that I shouldn't take the queen right now, and I can plan this checkmate. And the computer puts him in like the smartest 500 IQ checkmate you'll ever see in your life. It's like god tier gameplay without taking the queen. But from the perspective of someone who's just watching, who can't see the computer's moves, he's just ignoring the queen take. Does that make sense? Like from the perspective of someone watching from outside who can't see the computer.
It's not the most, because the computer sees that like there's a possibility to get like a 100% possibility to get a checkmate here. Yeah, but any player would not know that.
No,
they just literally go for the queen because it's the highest chance of success to get the queen out of it. Yeah, it makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, there's also points in the game where he's doing things, like he does something called a rook lift, where you make space for a rook to move to cover a certain part of the board. And he's trying to explain, like vocally, why he moved the pieces the way he did, but he doesn't know, because the computer performed like a high-level maneuver, but he didn't know what was going on, so he just kind of says some bullshit for like 20 seconds. And then people watching were like, hang on, no, you just played like you just played a really high level move. Like that's a maneuver that someone who's new to chess wouldn't do. And he didn't know why he did it, because he doesn't know why he did it.
I don't know much about him. He's pretty new to, like you said, he's got a low elo, but like,
so he has 600 elo. I don't know if that means like never played chess or played chess a little bit.
But he's generally just lower on the
He's not good at chess.
Okay.
He's not good at chess.
Okay, gotcha.
No,
it's established he's not good
He's established he's not good at chess.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%. Right. I just don't know exactly like where 600 elo lands him. But yeah. That's why it's so obvious.
He's pulling off the high level stuff.
He's pulling off really high level stuff, and he doesn't know why, because he's not saying anything.
I feel like that would be the most entertaining part of watching the stream.
It's really funny to watch.
Knowing that he's cheating.
Yeah, well, there's people who've like talked over it, explaining like, at this point you see him do this, and then you see his reaction.
Mhm.
You know, like actual chess play, like all the
You're
big
gonna
chess
you're gonna
YouTube
make me
channels.
go down the rabbit
Yeah.
hole for this
All
one. I'm
the
gonna
chess
watch like a
YouTube channels-
2-hour documentary.
there
It's
is.
just gonna show a live stream with commentary, and I'm just gonna be watching that to 2 a.m.
Yeah, a channel called Chess Bra made a really good video where he watches both games and he's pausing it constantly, saying like, Dr. Lupo did this. He doesn't know why he did it. This makes no sense. Why isn't he doing this?
Yeah.
And also, like, if you're gonna cheat, like, especially when you're someone who has such a good reputation as like a good guy of Twitch, he's making it so obvious because let's say you're playing chess, right? And your board is like my main monitor, which I look at right now. Let's say the opponent just made the move. What are you gonna do? Look at the board, right?
Yeah, look at the board.
They just moved. You'd be like this, like, and you start assessing like your options. But every time Wolf Glick moved, and it was established that the board was on the front because you're not allowed to have like assistance anywhere or really anything on like on other screens when you play. And it's established that his board is there because he looks there every time he moves and shit. But he would every time Wolf Glick would make a move, he'd be like this. Every time, like as soon like you'd hear Wolf Glick's piece move, and he'd go. Which I don't know how he thought that wouldn't be unbelievably obvious because it's when you play chess, when the opponent moves, why would you look away from the screen immediately? That makes no sense. He was really doing very poorly at hiding it.
The one streamer who was doing like the blind run, and she was
a Monster Hunter.
yeah, and she showed both her monitors to show that they were off, but she would keep turning to a third monitor.
Yeah, but that was the one who had the blindfold. But she was wearing the blindfold like this, and
it was like really high up. And there was a few times you could actually see her eyes.
And when she was playing, she wasn't like sat like this. She was sat like this. And
Who plays like that? Who plays like that? Like I have two positions. I have just like casual play, and then you got like fucking buckle up.
So Dr. Lupo eventually, after the games with Wolf Glick are over, people from like who have been watching the main chess.com stream or like Wolf Glick stream come into his chat and they're like, you cheated. He's getting like a lot of people saying like you cheated because people who understand chess can tell, and they probably spread the word that he cheated. And his like, let's say you get caught doing something like that, right? These initial moments, like the first reaction, are so important. Because that's where it kind of shows what kind of person you are.
Yeah.
And Dr. Lupo performed extremely poorly in his initial reactions to being accused because he practically got dragged down kicking and screaming about whether he cheated or not. He denied it for so long. And then he made some comments about Wolfie's chat potentially starting the rumor, which kind of felt like a dig at the other streamer a little bit. So this is all just going horribly.
That's just mean, man.
And then the next day or later that like evening or afternoon, he puts up a tweet saying that he's withdrawing from the tournament in order to kind of retain fair play. Vague tweet, which is funny because then which is funny because then very shortly after chess.com said we've banned Dr. Lupo for cheating.
That's good.
It's like
good.
Dr. Lupo was hoping no one would like elaborate. And then chess.com was just like, no, he's been removed from the tournament for fair play violation. That was what he said.
Yeah, that's like the politician that's like, I'm gonna stand down, I'm gonna retire, and then like days later they have like some huge court thing go out. Oh well, wow.
Truth just comes out.
And then he has all. Oh man.
And this is the common thing that happens when people get caught in like a bad lie, like compulsive liars. They'll start admitting to like gradually less bad stuff until they can't hold on to like all the lies anymore. So it falls apart. But they lie in levels. So like the surface lie breaks, then the next one, then the next one, then the next one, until you have nothing left. And that's exactly what Dr. Lupo did, because the first thing he did in his like response stream was that he said he was just like, he had Twitch chat open on the left and he kept looking at it. And sometimes they were putting moves in and he like used them as inspiration. That was his first confession. And like I said before about how these initial reactions are so important, failed again because this is bullshit. Because he made 26 perfect moves in a row. And Twitch chat isn't just pumping out every single perfect move in a row.
I guarantee if you rewind the footage, that chat didn't put those exact moves.
That's exactly what they did. Investigators
that's provably wrong.
Investigators rolled back the footage, and Twitch chat weren't saying that. They'd sometimes put moves in, but they'd be like bad. And two, he was making his moves so fast that the input delay of his stream wouldn't have displayed the chat yet.
Oh, that's a good one.
So the chat confession is provably false immediately, like very shortly after he said it. So this is another layer of the lie that's been broken.
Yeah.
And then he kind of made like another stream where he said that like in the first game, the one where he lost his queen, and I said that like he just started cheating like mad, like blatant. Yeah. He said that like that was the only game he cheated because he got kind of annoyed and his ego was hurt by losing the queen, so he started looking at the recommendations for the moves, and he couldn't help it. And he started making them. This is partly true, but he still hasn't told the full truth because he objectively, provably cheated in both games, according to the computing, hack detector.
Wow.
So he still hasn't told the full truth, but eventually one day he does just say, "Yeah, I cheated the shit out of it," and now he's kind of in that apology period where he's just he uploaded like a few different, or maybe one really long apology video or apology stream that was converted to a video. And yeah, that's the Dr. Lupo. That's the Dr. Lupo chess saga.
That's wild, man.
Extremely interesting for me because it taught me
charity tournament too.
Like, yeah, I forgot to even mention that. Like, so being the good guy that he is, like, this brings into question if it's his first time cheating, because having your first time cheat be in $100,000, like, with other creators, chess.com,
to stop him from cheating in like a 5K tournament.
That seems like a random place to cheat for the first time, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it does bring into question his entire career, unfortunately, because he is quite a good Tarkov player, at least from what I think. And it's also just hypocritical because he's known for like speaking out against Tarkov has like a huge cheating problem, and he's like at the forefront of, combating that. So it's really uncomfortable that he's, also a cheater.
Yeah, that's terrible, man.
But yeah.
It's interesting to hear about. I'll have to ask you to send me the best video you saw.
Yeah, well, it's a good one.
I actually want to see a play-by-play because I'm very interested in the kind of moves he did and the kind of tip-offs people saw.
Yeah, it is a really good one of those scandals. We have a lot of scandals like this, but this one just really piqued me because chess is like, when you break down chess in this kind of way, it's so interesting how. Well, I didn't know the computer. I didn't know computers had solved chess that well. That was something that I didn't know until going into this controversy.
I mean, I knew that. I knew that computers had since a while ago. Computers just had absolute mastery. I think it was when like the computers beat Garry Kasparov. It was actually like a supercomputer now. But I think it's at a point where like a standard computer could run that. Solvable thing.
Well, your phone, I knew that. You can do that on your phone now,
Yeah. But using that to determine if someone cheated, that was completely new to me, and that seems genius. Just like put the moves in the machine. Did he do the same machine as the optimal thing? Yes. Then
yes, he did. Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty smart to do that. So that's pretty cool.
It is cool. I like that one.
But yeah, wild story.
Well, I think that's a good place to leave it. We just crossed the 2-hour mark. I wasn't expecting it to go that long, but there was some good topics this week.
To cover,
yeah.
So, yeah.
And we randomly talked about Star Wars, which is good. I'd like to start talking about some more like shows and movies and stuff. So.
Oh yeah, there's some good series out there, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you should get on Andor and see if you like it. You talk about that.
I am. I literally wrote it down.
Yeah.
Like I meant to watch it earlier in the week. And I just got distracted by something. And now that you brought it up, I'm like, that was the thing that I was like, I wanted to do something, but I forgot.
Well, I wish I was.
That was it.
I wish I was like you and I hadn't seen it yet. It's one of them things where you wish you could just like watch it again.
Oh yeah.
Like wipe your memory. Yeah.
I I hear you.
All right, well, I'll drop it there. Pretty good episode once again. Thank you, Peter.
All right, thank you. I had fun.
Yeah, see you later.
Later, man.